Good afternoon. Kind of a late Thursday afternoon here in Medford. I cut out of work a little bit early to do a quick out and back to Provo and get a chance to see my kids that are out there and watch some of their friends compete in some athletics. Asa's going to be doing some swimming, and Taylon's playing for the number 6 team in the country, NCAA Division I volleyball. So looking forward to that also. Should be a really nice flight out. Beautiful blue skies right now. The sun's going to be setting in about an hour, so I'm going to get November 3755 Golf pre-flighted and ready to go. Try and get out of here as quickly as I can. But that's definitely going to be a nighttime approach into Provo, which should be fun. That'll be a first time for me flying into Provo at night. And I don't think I'm going to have any tailwinds on the way. We'll be cruising out there at 17,500. So I'm going to be on oxygen, but it looks like it should be a really nice flight out there. Saturday, the weather's kind of been bouncing around a little bit. We'll see if it holds, and it should be maybe an uneventful flight back, although like I say, it looks like the weather is kind of changing on us on Saturday, so we'll see what happens. But happy to have you along, and welcome.
Medford Tower, information Alpha 225 for observation, wind calm, visibility 10, sky conditions clear, temperature 8 to 2.3, altimeter 3037. Expect the visual approach runway 32. Runway 32 is in use. Flow control for SeaTac. On initial contact, advise you have Alpha.
All right, we've got Alpha. Medford Tower, experimental Sling 3755 Golf, holding short at Alpha 1.
Sling 3755 Golf, Medford Tower, right turn approved, runway 32, cleared for takeoff, wind calm, altimeter 3036.
32, clear for takeoff, and right turn out approved, 3036, 55 Golf. 3036, so altimeter just changed. Alpha had it at 3037, not a big change, but it's changing. I can see fog rolling in. All right, we got our lights, got our fuel pumps. We have clear on final, clear to the left, 32 is painted on the runway. We'll get lined up, see how well the Sling flies after a little bit of a break. All lined up, we'll bring in our full takeoff power here. Full takeoff power is set. Engine gauges are green, airspeed is alive, ×2, and there's 55 before the 1,000 footers, as usual. And we'll look for 90, there's 90, positive rate of climb. Bring out a little bit of power here. Go. There's 400 feet, so my right turnout is approved at 400 feet. Maintain the 90 knots. 550 feet, parachutes available. I'm just gonna, it's nice and cool, so I'm gonna just climb at 100. We'll go directly, activate, and nav mode. And climb an indicated airspeed of 100 knots. Departure experimental Sling 3755 Golf is 3 to the east of Medford, looking to pick up flight following to Provo. Papa Victor uniform.
November 3755 Golf, Cascade approach, Medford altimeter 3036, standby 1 for your request.
3036, we'll stand by, 55 Golf.
November 55 Golf, squawk 3565.
3565, 55 Golf.
November 55 Golf radar contact 4 miles east of the Medford Airport. I show you at 4,600. Do you concur?
That position and altitude checks, 55 Golf.
Roger.
All right, here we are at 17,500. We are in Nevada. We're 365 miles, nautical miles from Provo. We'll be there in about, looks like 2 hours and 12 minutes, so we've been making pretty good time. We're burning 8 gallons an hour, true airspeed of 150 knots. We do have a little bit of a quartering tailwind that's giving us a ground speed of 165 knots. Just for reference, though, it's really the wind is coming kind of from the northwest, and the wind is 54 knots. So that would be a nice tailwind to have because that would boost us up into turbine speed, but not today. So anyway, ground speed of 165 knots. Nothing to complain about while we're burning 8 gallons an hour. We are on flight following, so I might get an interruption, but I thought I would try something a little new other than just my usual pilot talk for my blog, telling you how much I love my Sling and how fast I'm going and where I'm at and all that stuff, and just generally pilot stuff. I thought I'd talk a little bit about what I do for my day job. I'm an attorney. I'm an estate planning attorney with an emphasis on elder law. So a lot of what my planning has to do with, I do regular estate planning and administration for all stripes, but I do a little bit of, I guess, a specialty dealing with seniors, the elderly, kind of them preparing for retirement, old age, incapacity of one spouse while the other spouse is the caregiver, that type of stuff. So anyway, what I thought I would do is maybe talk a little bit about some of the legal stuff that I deal with on a daily basis. This may be horribly boring to my viewing audience. I know most of the people that follow me are interested in aviation. This is not aviation related. So be prepared to fast forward or skip the next 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long I drone on about it. But
Up to 679, contact Oakland Center 134.45.
There's that flight following.
445, that's 679, good night.
So for my first topic, I decided I'm going to talk about powers of attorney. Powers of attorney are something that most people are familiar with. By the way, I should get this disclaimer in. Not legal advice. I am not your lawyer, and I'm not providing legal advice to you. These are just some general ideas that a lot of people should be aware of. So 100% consult your own attorney on all of this
contact
stuff.
Salt Lake Center 128.55.
128.55, Alpha 1891.
So what is a power of attorney?
Measure 2070, 32.5 or 360.
Rise at 2070 Salt Lake Center, roger.
Powers of attorney is it's a legal agreement or a legal instrument between two parties generally. The first person we typically call the principal, the person who is establishing the power of attorney.
Westjet 1624 at 370.
Westjet 1624 Salt Lake Center, roger.
And the person that
Lake, good evening, Coho 13370.
Coho 13 Salt Lake Center, roger.
this is going to be longer than I thought. I didn't think I was going to get all these interruptions because I'm out over the desert. The person that the principal appoints as their attorney in fact, in the power of attorney, is referred to as the agent. Now the agent has what's called a fiduciary obligation, which is an obligation to make sure that when they're acting on behalf of the principal, they're doing so in the principal's best interest, and they're not allowing conflicts of interest or not allowing their own interests to get involved and override the principal's interests. So there's a lot involved there with that agency relationship. So you've got the principal appointing the agent, and the power of attorney itself can be fairly simple. I recommend that you have the power of attorney done through an attorney because there's a lot that goes into the conversation. First of all, what's the power of attorney for? Well, typically it's going to be for when needed in the future, in the event of incapacity. Could be an accident, could be a stroke, it could be dementia or some other form of cognitive impairment where you need somebody else to manage your affairs, to take care of your business, to file your tax returns, to take care of things that you're not able to take care of because of that incapacity. And what's important here is with the power of attorney, you get to choose who you want to make those decisions. That's key, because if you don't have a power of attorney in place, what happens is it's more likely than not that your loved ones...
Sky West, 6280, contact Salt Lake Center 133.45.
133.45.
That your loved ones are going to have to go to court and get a judge to determine who's the most appropriate person to act as your conservator. That's a court process, it's expensive, and it's not necessarily picking who you might choose to be your agent. It could be just the person who convinces the judge that they're the best actor. But going back to the power of attorney, the power of attorney is super important because if you choose wrong, if you choose somebody that's not trustworthy, that power of attorney could possibly be used to harm you financially. I've had several elder abuse cases where somebody convinced their parent or their loved one to sign a power of attorney, put them in a position of taking care of them, and they didn't honor that fiduciary obligation. So they took advantage, financial advantage with that power of attorney, and to their own benefit and the detriment of the principal. So it's super important that you have an agent that you trust and that is going to act on your behalf. Now, another thing that comes up with this is what are called springing powers of attorney. Sometimes people will say to me, well, I don't want the power of attorney to go into place until I'm incapacitated. I push back against that for several reasons. First of all, if it's not until you become incapacitated, then there's got to be some triggering event. Somebody's going to have to determine you're incapacitated. Well, who's that going to be? A judge? That can be expensive. A doctor? Possibly. But the doctor may not want to involve himself or herself in your financial affairs. The doctor might not be interested in giving authority to your son or daughter to manage all of your financial affairs. Because the doctor is going, look, I'm just looking after your health care. I don't want to get involved in the family affairs like this. So beyond all of that, if you've got concerns that your agent is not going to act in your best interest, then don't appoint them. If you're not concerned, then you shouldn't be worried about holding off until some future event happens before they become your power of attorney. So my opinion is the powers of attorney should be effective immediately. You hold on to it. You tell your agent where you're holding it, and you trust that they're going to act on your behalf when the time comes.
Here. How many rides?
And just some occasional light stops, but should just be a pocket. And let's you want to try something else?
Okay, we'll ride it out then for now. 24 there. Close Center Southwest 3214, pilot level 340, smooth.
Southwest 3214, Salt Lake Center, Roger. Expect just an occasional light stop.
Thank you.
Now that brings me to the term durable power of attorney. Most of you are probably familiar with that term. Durable just means that the power of attorney is effective even after incapacity. That's important. You want to make sure your power of attorney is durable because that's usually when you're going to need it, is when something happens and you're no longer able to manage your own legal or financial affairs. So most powers of attorney are durable unless they say otherwise. I guess this is a good time for me to point out, I'm an attorney, but I'm only licensed to practice in the state of Oregon. So a lot of what I say is really effective for Oregon state law and what I'm aware of with Oregon state law. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be identical in other states that you might live in. a lot of times, if it's not the same, it might rhyme. So there's going to be some similarities, but there can be some real differences as well.
The right one, expect 219 Alpha with Charlie Finland.
So I'm going to finish up by talking a little bit about the formality of the power of attorney. Again,
County 4, contact open center 132.05.
3205, Transcon 904.
for me, I'm going to encourage you to get the power of attorney through an attorney and not through an online service, because I think that the principal should have legal advice that goes along with that power of attorney. I think that's important. But the formality to execute a power of attorney, both powers of attorney are notarized, so they're signed in front of a notary public. That's not absolutely necessary. There's what's called the equal dignity doctrine. The equal dignity doctrine states that whatever action that agent is going to take, they must have an equal amount of formality for that underlying instrument so that they can take that action on behalf of the principal. In other words, if I'm an agent under a power of attorney and I'm wanting to sign a deed transferring real estate, well, deeds require notary signatures and stamps as well. So the underlying document that appointed me as an agent must also be notarized. If it's not notarized, it doesn't have that equal dignity. It doesn't have the same amount of formality as the document that I'm going to be signing on behalf of the principal. So that's basically a brief preview, or overview, I should say, of powers of attorney.
FedEx 1818, flight level 34.
Let me know in the comments if that was interesting to you. Let me know in the comments nicely if that was not interesting to you, and maybe I'll discontinue it. And then I guess if you really are interested, let me know what else you might want me to talk about. I don't know everything about the law, but I know quite a bit about my area of practice, and I'm happy to discuss it anytime. My favorite things, I get to talk about the law and I get to fly. So, thanks for hanging in there. All right, we're back at it for a night landing here in Provo. We are 30 miles out, so we should be there in about 10 minutes. Descending through 12,400.
Site 12 o'clock and 30 miles.
Provo Tower, experimental Sling 3755 Golf is 14 to the west, inbound with information hotel, full stop.
3755 Golf, Provo Tower, reports a left base runway 31.
We'll report left base for 3155 Golf.
Sling 55 Golf, runway 31, clear to land, wind variable at 4.
31, clear to land, 55 Golf.
Sling 55 Golf, if able, turn right Alpha 4, taxi to Park V Alpha.
Right on Alpha 4 and taxi to Park V Alpha 55 Golf. Welcome to Provo.
right, Saturday morning, 3755 Golf is still tucked away. Got a little bit of snow this morning that's starting to melt off, but winds are picking up. It's getting gusty. The trick right now is my departure out of here. I'm gonna be departing off of 31 out that way, fly out over the lake, and then I go around those mountains through there, but right now I can't get through there. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of time, see what happens, hope this all clears up, breaks up, and then I'll be going out that way. So first gotta get this guy unbuttoned and ready to roll. All right, here we are in Provo. It's Saturday, 12:30. The weather did not shape up the way I was hoping it was going to, so there's a hole and a bunch of blue sky right directly above me, but it's about 12,000 feet. I'm gonna see if I can just kind of circle around the airport in my climb and get up to 12,000 feet, and then I should be able to just continue on to my destination once I do. So kind of see how it goes. If not, I'm coming back to Provo and another night in Provo.
Provo ground, experimental Sling 3755 Golf at signature with Charlie. I'd like to depart to the west, but I'm planning on orbiting the field in my climb before I depart.
Experimental 3755 Golf, Provo grounds. How high are you planning to climb over the field before you turn westbound?
My en route altitude is 16,500, and it looks like the tops to the west of me are about 12, so I was just going to kind of climb up orbit through that blue patch up there.
So 55 Golf, Roger, runway 31, taxi via Alpha. Do you need a run-up?
Run up complete, 31 via Alpha, 55 Golf.
55 Golf, Roger, thanks.
Provo Tower, experimental Sling 3755 Golf is holding short at Alpha 5. If I can get left traffic in my orbit, that'd be great.
375, Sierra Golf, Provo Tower, hold short, runway 31, landing traffic.
Holding short, traffic in sight, 55 Golf. Yeah, it's a little gusty too. Got some students up in this weather, which is great training, I'm guessing, if you're a student here locally. Deal with this stuff.
5 Sierra Golf, runway 31, line up and wait.
Was that for 3755 Golf, line up and wait?
55 Golf, affirmative, runway 31, clear for takeoff, left downwind departure approved, and actually orbiting over the airport is approved.
31 clear for takeoff, and orbit over the airport is approved, 55 Golf, thanks for your help. Alright, we are clear on final. Clear on the right. 31 is painted on the runway. And here we go. Full power set. Airspeeds alive. Engine gauges are green. And there's 55.
Project 305, when able, start your left crosswind.
Starting left crosswind, crew track 305.
Positive rate.
Project 305, short approach approved, runway 31, clear touch and go.
Clear touch and go, 31, short approach approved, crew track 305.
And Provo Tower, Pilatus 81 November Golf, VFR at 8,200, field insight.
Pilatus 81 November Golf, Provo Tower number 2, found a Cessna close in, left downwind past the numbers, making a short approach, runway 31, clear to land.
All right, runway 31, we're clear to land, 81 November Golf, and we're looking for the traffic to follow. Thank you.
There's the Pilatus in sight.
From 55 Golf, leaving the Class Delta airspace, frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, 55 Golf. Thanks for your help.
Minus 03.
All right, getting close to the Class B airspace here. That's we're at about the altitude for it, but we also just getting up over these clouds. All right, we'll just keep this climb going. We stayed at climbing over 1,000 feet a minute, and that was up through 11,000 feet, so pretty good performance. And we'll just stick with it for a little bit longer here. Stay out of this Class B. Well, that That worked out pretty nicely, all things considered, because we butted up against the Class B airspace, climbing up through that blue hole.
Go 6285, contact Salt Lake Center, and 133.9er, take care.
133.9er, good day, sir. Sky 6285.
My ears were popping. We're climbing so fast. Okay, so here we are at 16,500 feet. We are at a true airspeed of 145 knots, but we've got a 38 knot ordering headwind, kind of right up there, which is slowing us down, so our ground speed is only 123 knots. So that puts us 3 hours from Medford right now, and I've been in the air for a little over an hour. So this is going to be a 4-hour plus flight because of this headwind. Been an interesting flight so far. I've dealt with some stuff, some adversity, if you will. Coming out of Provo, the weather did not shape up the way my forward flight was showing it was going to. It looked like it was supposed to break up in the afternoon and just be partly cloudy to scattered clouds. And it was going to be windy, but the wind wasn't going to be an issue that we were going to have to deal with. It was the clouds mostly. The clouds again at that elevation, because the Portland airport is the Provo airport's at 4,500 feet. And it's already at freezing at ground level, so all the clouds are freezing ice. So I can't fly out of there IFR through the clouds. But we broke out. We followed the blue hole above the airport, kind of orbited around, just kind of worked our way around, really started an aggressive climb as soon as we took off, and that really helped. Since we've left, boy, we've been dealing with some mountain waves like crazy. So most of the mountain ranges in the direction that I'm flying, so I'm out over Nevada right now, most of these mountain ranges run north-south, so they're kind of running perpendicular to my flight path. And because the wind is a headwind, it means the wind is crossing against the grain of those mountains, which causes a pretty stiff mountain wave. Even at 16,500 feet, you know, I'm still 8,200 feet above the ground, but I can feel those mountain waves. And my understanding is even in the commercial aircraft, you know, up in the flight levels, they still feel those mountain waves. So what'll happen is a little bit of bump, some turbulence, but what happens is all of a sudden when you're on the backside of the mountain wave, the plane just pitches up in autopilot, and you see
American 187, flight level 320.
The speed just 187 drops down significantly because you're climbing, that wave is pushing down on you, and you're trying to climb into it to maintain your altitude. And so it climbs like that. Sometimes you bring in a little bit of power just to, you know, I kind of keep an eye on things, but I mean, I never get close to a stall on it, but it'll drop my speed down from 117 indicated, or 120 indicated, to like 95 indicated, you know, which is significant, it's noticeable. Then you get on the front side of that mountain wave, where it's pushing up,
34.45.
and all of a sudden the plane's performing like crazy, and now it pitches the nose down and speeds up to stay at that 16,500. So you just ride this wave over these mountain crests, and it's not a huge deal, except that while I was doing that, I was bobbing and weaving between all these standing lenticular clouds. Standing lenticular clouds are interesting because they're beautiful. They look like spaceships. They're kind of smooth and oblong, and a lot of times you see them on top of high mountain peaks. They'll call them cap clouds or something like that, where they'll sometimes pile up on top of the mountain peaks, which looks amazing. But they're extremely dangerous, and that's, I guess, what I was suggesting is that's kind of the irony of it. You know, you look at these bumpy clouds and you're looking at them thinking, oh, that doesn't look like a good thing to fly into. And sometimes
978, contact Salt Lake Center,
it be troublesome.
128.55.
But those standing lenticular clouds, they've got very high winds in them, and especially in small planes like this, they can be really dangerous. They can exceed the airframe's abilities to withstand some of the winds within them. So anyway, I'm getting out of Utah. I'm kind of
5872 Salt Lake Center.
Going up and down through those mountain waves, and then, like I said, I mean, I was having to make quite a few turns and changes to stay away from these standing lenticular clouds. So it's been pretty sporty, pretty exciting. I think the exciting part's behind me. There's a cloud layer, mostly broken, up ahead, and I think that's going to be that way probably until Lakeview or Klamath Falls. But it's showing tops at 12,000, 12,500, and so I'm cruising along at 16,500. Nice and smooth now. I'll probably still hit a few of these mountain waves just because, in fact, since I've been talking, I've gone through a couple of little ones. But I've still got a pretty good headwind, so anyway, been a good flight, been a fun flight, lots to learn, lots to experience. That's the joys of aviation. Okay, well, things are changing rapidly in Medford. I am just about over Ashland right now. Really had to slow my descent
Alpha radar contact
because of this undercast, but it's supposed to be broken or breaking up as we get over the Rogue Valley Airport. So I'm staying on a VFR. I could actually pick up a pop-up IFR right now. I'm about 2,000 feet over these clouds, and my outside air temps are 29 degrees. So I think that I'm probably not going to be dealing with freezing levels and stuff when I get down to the clouds. But anyway, I think I'm going to be able to, the valley's really opening up here. Alright, I can see the Ashland Airport now. Really dumping some altitude here. I'm at 7,500 feet. And, but I'm descending at 1,000 feet a minute, so I'll get down pretty quickly. Pulled the power out. Keeping an eye on my temperatures.
Quebec Sierra Alpha, contact Oakland Center, 132.2. November 033, Maintain VFR, the Lake County altimeter 3035. November 55 Golf, change to my frequency 124.85.
124.85, 55 Golf.
14, runway 14 in use. Full for Denver, SeaTac, and San Francisco airports. On contact device have X-ray.
Center experimental Sling 3755 Golf, descending through 5,800, and I've got Medford in sight.
November 55 Golf, making switch Medford, altimeter 3052, and radar service terminated, squawk VFR, in contact Medford Tower 119.4.
3052, and I'll squawk VFR and contact Medford Tower 55 Golf. Medford Tower, experimental Sling 3755 Golf, 12 to the south, inbound with X-ray.
Sling 3755 Golf, Medford Tower, afternoon, sir. You can make straight in, runway 32, winds are calm, report 5 mile final.
Good afternoon to you too, and straight in for 3255 Golf, we'll report 5 miles.
Sling 55 Golf, disregard the 5 mile check, runway 32, clear to land, wind 3, correction, wind 020 at 4.
32, clear to land, 55 Golf. All right, that's the Manor straight in front of us. The Continuing Care Retirement Center, kind of a prominent landmark here in Medford. All right, 200 feet. There's pattern altitude, and we are 4.4 miles out, so that's just about right. So now we're going to get slowed down, get to our approach speed. And we are doing that now. 3.5 miles out, so we'll start drawing some power out. Locked in on that center line. Alright, there's 3 miles out, so we are in first notch of flaps right now. Pitch for 85. There's 85. Got a good rate of descent. Yeah, you can see that little mist layer over the airport. It's reporting at 400 feet. It's 2 miles. We'll bring in our second notch and pitch for 75.
500.
There's our 500-foot call out. We'll bring in a little bit of power. Third notch flaps. And pitch for 70. There's 70. That looks just right. 2 red, 2 white at 70, and now I'm going to start to slow it up for 65 here. Yep. 65 on short final. Bring out some power, runway is assured. There's 65, back on center line. Power's coming out. that.
Sling 55 Golf, turn left Alpha 3, continue parking B Alpha, monitor ground point 8. Have a great afternoon.
Left Alpha 3 and Alpha to parking and ground point 8. Thanks for all your help. 55 Golf.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for flying along with me. Nice, quick, but enjoyable trip out to Provo. Visit the kids, get to see some friends, compete in some athletics, and got to do some fun flying along the way. So like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that, but if you enjoy my channel, please be sure to like it. And if you want to catch more of these videos, be sure and subscribe, and you'll know when I put a new video out.